How is it going, YouTube? Mo Sports Network back again today. We are talking about my number 15 team in my NFL preseason power rankings. Today we're talking about the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to start. I don't really have anything to talk about this team. We're going to get into more discussion about them, but we're going to start talking about the coaches right away. We have Cliff Kingsbury, the head coach, second season as the Cardinals head coach. I don't know how to feel about Kingsbury yet. I'm going to say what I said about some of the rookie coaches this year, and I'm going to continue to hold my judgment on Kingsbury because he's been all right, obviously, in his first season. 5 games wasn't great, but this Cardinals team wasn't expected to do too much. And with Kyler Murray in his rookie year, I think Kingsbury and Murray performed well. I obviously want to see more than 5 wins, and I have this team pretty high because they're oozing talent. But I really want to see Kingsbury and Murray take a step up, and this team's success is really going to depend on that. Coordinators, they don't have an offensive coordinator. Like, the closest thing you can say to that is Tom Clements. He's the pass game coordinator. Then you have Vance Joseph, who I think is a solid defensive coordinator despite the Cardinals' defense stinking last year. And I'm excited to see what he's going to do with one of the most exciting defensive draft pieces I've seen in a while, along with the improved defense as a whole. So we go to the roster now. We have Kyler Murray, great as a rookie last year, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, close to 3,800 yards, I think just under that. So good stuff we see from Murray in his rookie year. I want to see more. I think he can be one of these transcendent Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson type talents. And I'm not saying that just because they're all African American. I'm saying that because what I see from Murray is he is that good as those guys. I've seen the talent from him, and I think he can continue to be that good of a quarterback if he continues to step up. Question with Murray this year, Baker Mayfield, sophomore slump kind of season, or Mahomes, Lamar kind of second season breakout sort of thing. I think I'm going to lean more towards the latter, but not as much as those two. I don't think Kyler Murray's on MVP watch quite yet. But if you made Kyler Murray your MVP bet, I wouldn't call you an idiot. Backups there, Brett Hundley, Chris Streveler. There, if they play, this team is toast. So then you have your running backs. Obviously nothing, I guess not obvious if you're a big Kenyon Drake fan, but nothing too exciting here. Kenyon Drake hasn't been terrific so far in his career in Miami. But he's an okay running back one. Definitely a top 20 running back, but I wouldn't quite put him in top 10. You also have Chase Edmonds, who is a very quality backup. We saw that without David Johnson last season, along with Eno Benjamin, to be that third running back. Really like this core here of Drake, Edmonds, Benjamin. I think it will be a very quality 1-2-3 punch with the rookie Benjamin coming in. I like his talent a lot. So, solid 3 running backs right there. We go on to the receivers now, where this team gets very exciting. You have DeAndre Hopkins. You trade for him. Oh my God, I don't know how you made that trade. That's half the reason this team is as high as they are. They'd probably be in the 20s if not for DeAndre Bleep and Hopkins on this team. But you get a top 3 receiver onto an already pretty decent receiving core. Like, it's over. I don't know how you got them from Bill O'Brien. The Cardinals front office deserves front office of the year for pulling that shit off. Or Bill O'Brien deserves to be fired. Probably both. Then you have Christian Kirk. He's a really nice complimentary piece. It was his second season in the league last year, 800 yards almost receiving. Or I think he was 700 yards receiving. Really good stuff from Christian Kirk. And then you have Larry Fitzgerald coming back again for more. He seems ageless. Of course, he's lost a couple steps in speed. I think he can line up in tight end, to be honest. That's how good he is. I really like this 1-2-3 punch in Hopkins, Kirk, Fitzgerald. I think Hopkins opens up more for Kirk and Fitzgerald just because he's a top 3 receiver and he's ridiculous. But I expect at least another 1,000-yard receiving season from Hopkins, if not more. And then you have a little bit of excitement as well Two rookies last season, Andy Isabella and Keyshawn Johnson, didn't do too much. I think Isabella had a pretty disappointing season for what people were hyping him up to be coming out of UMass. But him and Johnson, with a shorter receiving room, I think Isabella and Johnson will continue to be improving, and I expect to see at least one of them break out in some sort of way. Not like breakout, but like 400-yard receiving type season sort of breakout, particularly from Isabella. I really liked his talent coming out of UMass. Then you have Trent Sherfield as well. He had like 80 yards receiving last year. I think he has the least promise out of any of these guys, but still a young quality receiver, rounding out these six guys. Then you look at tight end, pretty disappointing tight end room. I don't really know who's gonna be good. Max Williams is listed as the starter, but Williams, Arnold, Daryl Daniels. I think Larry Fitzgerald's the best tight end on this team right now, to be honest. Just given what we've seen Larry be able to do throughout his career, the tight end room isn't very good, and I look at this team to try and draft one in like the second or third round next season. Now we go to the offensive line. I'm going to keep it short. I think this team oozes being average. Humphreys, Pugh, Mason Cole, I think is probably below average out of Michigan. J.R. Sweezy, Kelvin Beachum. I think all of their PFF grades are around like the mid 60s, which again is just exhibiting being average. I think this line's not going to exceed average, but again, they're continuing to play together. I think they will be exactly average. They won't make this team better, and they're not going to have Kyler Murray running for his life. Which at the end of the day, if Cliff Kingsbury is this offensive genius that everyone's making him out to be, he will be able to make up for offensive line deficiencies enough with an average line. You obviously can't do it if your line sucks. At the end of the year, I don't expect people to say this line was the reason the Cardinals didn't make a playoff push at the end of the year, because they're going to be in the picture, I think. Now we go to the defense. I don't think I would be surprising anyone when I said the defense was the weak point of the Cardinals last season, but I think I will be surprising people when I am very high on this defense. I think they have a lot of potential to really improve this year. So let's start. I think the weakest group's probably their interior defensive line, or their front three here in the base 3-4. You have Zach Allen, Corey Peters, and Jordan Phillips listed as the starters. Jordan Phillips got to the quarterback a good bit last season, next to Chandler Jones and Devin Kennard. Another two really solid pass rushers. We'll get to the pass rush in a second. I'd like Jordan Phillips there. Zach Allen, he was a rookie last season, I believe. Years are running together for me during this quarantine. Disappointing so far in his rookie year, but I think Zach Allen out of Boston College can continue to play well. I was really high on him coming out of Boston College, so I hope for his sake he's going to be a really quality guy. So Zach Allen, I think he should start, and I think the Cardinals should see what they have in him at the least. And then you have Corey Peters at nose tackle. Nothing too exciting in Peters, but also a guy who can hold the line down. Big nose tackle. I think he gets the job done. I think nose tackle, no offense to any nose tackles watching, but it's probably, as long as you're a big body, one of the more replaceable spots in the league. I could never play nose tackle, but I think it probably is one of the more replaceable positions as far as people out there goes. Then you have Lecky Fotu and Rashard Lawrence, two really good rookies who I'm excited about. I think Lawrence can maybe take over Peters' position eventually, and I think Fotu is going to definitely attack Zach Allen for the other job. So good competition here as well, and I think it's going to be a decent line to begin with. We continue. We talk about Chandler Jones. He is excellent. 30 years old. I feel like he's been in the league longer, but he second in the league in sacks last season. I see him maybe dropping off a bit from that, but he's a really quality edge rusher. Probably top 10, if not top 5 pass rusher in the league. Chandler Jones is excellent. And you got Devin Kennard next to him. Pretty quality pass rusher as well. Obviously, he produced last season because he was next to Chandler Jones, but I don't think Devin Kennard by any means is a liability. He's not obviously not a great pass rusher, but next to Chandler Jones, I think Devin Kennard gets the job done. Also, I think Hassan Reddick was just playing in the wrong position last season. He scoots over, um, and I think Reddick is a pretty decent. 1 second, sorry guys. Sorry about the pause in the video. I am back. I believe I was talking about the edge rush of this team. As far as Hassan Reddick, Devin Kennard goes as the second edge rusher of this team. I think they will be serviceable next to an elite pass rusher in Chandler Jones. We now move into the interior linebacker, and I am so happy this team did the right thing with Isaiah Simmons and put him at inside linebacker. Watching him, that is the perfect position for him to play. I think he has the ability, and I know this is a bit of a stretch because their body types aren't nearly the same at all, but he could be like a Bobby Wagner, Luke Kuechly, Brian Urlacher even kind of type. Just naming three of the best middle linebackers you've ever seen. That's how much hype I have for Isaiah Simmons. He's just a freak. If he athletically, he's insane. He just has to know what he's doing. And I think Isaiah Simmons does what I've seen from him at Clemson, given he can play every position very well. So I think Isaiah Simmons is going to be excellent. I don't know if I've done multiple takes of this video. I was talking about Kyler Murray MVP. Betting. I wouldn't blame you for doing that. I wouldn't call you crazy, at least. I wouldn't call you crazy if you put a bet on Isaiah Simmons, Defensive Rookie of the Year. If I were a betting man, that's what I would do. Then other linebackers. Jordan Hicks is a very quality linebacker next to him. Above average, at least. So I like Jordan Hicks there. And then Devondre Campbell, another guy, depth guy who could be solid. Backup if either of them needs to be relieved. I think how good Simmons is, I don't know how often he's not going to be on the field. But I think Hicks and Campbell coming over from the Falcons could be pretty interchangeable at the other linebacker, though Hicks is obviously a decent bit better. Then Vallejo and Turner, going to be depth special teams kind of guys, but will still be guys on the team nonetheless. We go to the secondary now. Obviously, Patrick Peterson and Budda Baker, two excellent DBs. Baker, one of the probably top 10 safety in the league. I wouldn't say top 5 quite yet, but I'd say Baker's like a top 10 free safety in this league. And then you have Pat Pete, who has proven year after year he is a lockdown corner. Obviously, he's getting a little older, and he had some struggles last season, but I think he's still a very good corner. And then there's a little more questions, but I'm not too concerned. You have Jalen Thompson at strong safety. I'm not too concerned about that. I wouldn't be shocked if I saw Isaiah Simmons playing that strong safety spot even in some nickel looks. If they have Campbell and Hicks on the field at linebacker, or defenses are weird. You can't just look at the base defense and say that's what's going to be on the field all the time. That's why I think Isaiah Simmons is such a great pick. I think Jalen Thompson is serviceable for what he is, and then Dre Kirkpatrick is as well. I think he was an underrated player in Cincinnati, and he will. I think Cardinals fans will like Dre Kirkpatrick for what he is. He commits a good amount of penalties. He gets burnt a decent bit, like every now and then, but he's still a very good corner. He's a solid number 2 corner. He's not great, but I don't think he's horrible for what he is either. And then you look at Byron Murphy. I think he moves into the slot comfortably. I think last year they had him play outside corner a lot on an island, and that was not the position for Murphy to play. I think if he plays the nickel next to Peterson and Kirkpatrick, who I think Kirkpatrick should be replaced on the line. I don't think he's the end goal for them at their second corner. I think that was Murphy. But if Murphy is a lockdown nickel corner, sure. It will be a decent secondary. And I'm talking about this, and you hear me talk, and it does not sound like this is a bad defense. because I don't think it is. If everything works out on this defense, I think it has top 10 potential. I know. I sound crazy right now for how bad this defense looked last year. And maybe I look like an idiot once the season actually starts and they get blown the hell up against the 49ers, who didn't have that inspiring of an offense. But still, I am just very optimistic of this defense, and I want to be right that they are better than I think people are giving them credit for. So we move on to the schedule now. Um, and we're going to go through it game by game as usual. So we start, say, at San Fran. I think that one's probably a loss early on in the year. But then I think they get on a roll. And this is when people say, oh, snap, the Cardinals are here. You have Washington, Detroit, Carolina, New York. I think those are all wins. They are 4-1. Then I think they lose to Dallas. Dallas is going to be pretty good this year. I have a feeling 4-2. And then this one against Seattle, I think they split with Seattle, so I'm going to say they win the home one, so 5-2. Then I think they beat Miami 6-2. I think they probably lose to Buffalo and then Seattle. I really like Buffalo this year. So then they'd be 6-4 at this point. I think they can beat New England 7-4. Although at New England, it's a toss-up. I forget what I said in the New England video, how I think that game's going to go. But since I have the Cardinals ranked higher, I'm just going to lean them. I think they can beat the Rams and the Giants to be at 9 wins. And I think the stretch at the end is going to bite them. I think they probably lose these last 3 games. Philly, San Fran, at LA. I think there's a good chance that they lose those. I think there's a decent chance that they do get swept by San Fran, because I think San Fran is a really good team this year. So I have them going 9-7, and I think it could easily be 10-6 if they split with San Fran. But I am leaning towards 9-7. That's what I've said the last couple videos for the teams I've been talking about. I think that's a very solid playoff picture record for this team. And I think if they don't flounder down the stretch, I think they are definitely in contention for a playoff spot. At 15, they would be just outside of the picture as far as just straight up rankings go. Although I didn't take a look at my rankings. I don't want to spoil any rankings, but the Cardinals could be in the playoffs, and it wouldn't shock me if they were. I think they're like the first team out in the NFC is where I'm leaning right now. So I think that'd be after a 5-win year for the Cardinals last season, I think that'd be a very solid season for them. And so 9-7 is what I'm going. I think they could go maybe a couple games less if Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray take a step back. I think they could go a game more. I don't really know if more than 10 wins is realistic from year to year, but I think 10-6 is possible for this team as well. So I'm going to wrap it up after that. No point in rambling. I already told you I think they're going to go 9-7. So that is all from me today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have been Mo Sports Network, and I will see you guys next time talking about the number 14 team in my NFL Power Rankings. So I'll see you guys then. Peace out.